Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you guys are doing really well. I want to thank you all for watching the first video in my 3-part bookshelf tour video series. I am so happy with all the comments and that everyone is really enjoying the new format. So today you're going to get video number 2, 2 more shelves in my bookshelf tour. I hope you guys like it as much as you liked the first one. So come along and see what we get into. Hey guys, welcome back. Bookshelf tour, video number 2. Okay, so this part of the tour is going to be these 2 shelves right here, and they are probably my favorite 2 shelves in my whole entire house. Every book on this shelf and up to here are signed by the authors. And then every book this way are parts of collections from different publishers that are very important to me. So I thought what I would do is I would just walk you through. I could tell you a story about every book on this shelf and how I met the author and that experience. But I'm going to not do that because, again, you guys don't want a video that's 10 hours long. We're going to start over here at the beginning, and as I told you guys, I cannot do a signed book video without talking about Simon Savage. Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo was one of my favorite reads of a year ago, 2 years ago now, and thank goodness for Simon Savage for getting me a signed copy and sending it this way. I don't think I need to talk about this. Was a booktube darling for a while. I think this book is absolutely fantastic. I think she is amazing and lovely and everything that you could want to say about her. But this book, again, reminds me of Simon and reminds me of the worlds and worlds of literature that are out there for all of us to read. The next book, well, gosh, I could talk about all of these. It's so hard to choose. I could tell you about how amazing Chloe Benjamin is and how fantastic it was to meet her. I could tell you about, I don't have to tell you about Jen Campbell. She is one of our booktube friends and her collections that are right here. I can tell you again about If Then and Kate Hope Day and how much I love this book and how much I loved her. But I thought I would go to one of my favorite authors that I did not think I would ever get to meet. And that is Rene Denfeld, who wrote The Enchanted, which is probably in my top 10 favorite books ever, and The Child Finder, which came out last year. Now, weirdly enough, there is a tiny town to the south of me called Morgan Hill, where there is a little independent bookstore. It is teeny tiny called Booksmart. Show up there if you wind up driving through Morgan Hill, California. There was no reason for Rene Denfeld to be at Booksmart Morgan Hill except for the tenacity of one woman from a local book club who got her on her book tour for The Child Finder. When I found out she was going to be that close to me, I had to go. And I have to tell you, Rene Denfeld is an amazing human being. She does a lot of work with foster care and foster youth. She does a lot of work when The Enchanted, you learn about her work with people on death row. She's amazing. To meet her was one of the high points because I never thought I would have a chance. And I absolutely love her book. She has a new book called The Butterfly Girl, I think. Butterfly Girl, 90% sure, coming out in October, which is sort of an appendage to The Child Finder. Cannot read it. I have it on my shelf. Okay, what else? I could spend an hour telling you about how many times I've met Roxane Gay and how much I love her and how I have all of her books signed, but I did a whole video about that because that's how much I love her. She is one of those authors that my husband has gone to go see me with, and he loves her, so there you go. I thought I would then go over to this book. I never thought I would meet Kazuo Ishiguro, and he wrote Remains of the Day, as you guys know, which is probably, again, one of my favorite books of all time. He came through California when The Buried Giant came out. I never thought that I would have an autographed book on my shelf by someone who won the Nobel Prize in Literature, but I do. My husband did not enjoy this author event, was not a huge fan, but I can say I have this book on my shelf, and it is one of my prized possessions. Another book that's kind of fun to tell you guys the story about. Oh, hi, Ruth Hogan sends me stuff. I really like her too. I could talk about all of these people. The Orphan Master's Son by Adam Johnson. Now, I met Adam Johnson at a Booktopia event, the Booktopia event that started so many of my book friendships. This book had just come out. Adam Johnson was there. He actually was a teacher at the time at Stanford. I don't know if he still is. Months after that, this book won the Pulitzer Prize in fiction. And I can say that I have this signed copy on my shelf from Adam Johnson, and that is just amazing. I think I'm gonna have Dan come down the way with me a little bit so that I can show you some stuff on this. Thought I'd point out that here's the blue felt turtle. I know everyone worries now that we've mixed up the system here. He is back, he is here and on the shelf, but I am gonna move him for a moment. Down here, not on the floor, don't get upset. I could talk to you guys about Tiare Jones, who just won the Women's Prize for Fiction. Absolutely love her. I actually have all of her books signed because I met her at that same Booktopia event where I met Adam Johnson. I was told you guys in the last video I was holding up The Good People by Hannah Kent, and I was like, Simon got me a signed version. He did. This one, not the one I had in my hand back then. Look at how beautiful this British copy of this book is. And yes, this is the signed one. I remember meeting Rachel Kong, who wrote Goodbye Vitamin, which I absolutely, absolutely loved. I could talk to you for hours about Min Jin Lee and how she is an amazing person. I met her at Stanford. This is my Min Jin Lee story. I met her at Stanford for this book. She was there. Her son goes to Stanford. He may have just graduated. And after I met her, every time I saw her thereafter, she remembered who I was. And that's pretty amazing because you imagine the amount of people that Min Jin Lee has met. She has impeccable taste, impeccable style. She's so smart. And I wanted to say, I think this has one of my favorite first lines ever in a book. And it's, history has failed us, but no matter. I think that's a brilliant first line. I know a lot of people have talked about Pachinko. I do also have her signed first book, and I absolutely loved it. Last but not least on this shelf in and of itself, I have to tell you about my visit to see David Mitchell. David Mitchell came to San Francisco when the Bone Clocks came out. And a bunch of my friends from my Bicoastal Book Club, Bicoastal Bibliophiles Book Club, came to San Francisco so that we could all see him together. David Mitchell was sick with the flu, but he was a pro. And he would only sign 5, 6, 7 books per person. I had brought my whole entire David Mitchell collection. Cloud Atlas is absolutely one of my favorite books of all time. And they had this beautiful edition so that he could sign it, my name on the sticky. I don't even remove it. And he signed all of them to me, and it was amazing, amazing. And David Mitchell is one of my favorite authors ever. And then let's shout out to an independent bookstore. I could not see Celeste when she came to Green and Apple Books on the Park. I was out of town. But I called them and I said, you know what? I love Celeste and I really would love a signed copy. And they got me a signed copy that I was able to purchase and pick up. And it is just amazing. So support your local independent bookstores. They will do and go out of their way for you. And it is definitely worth it. And this sits on my shelf and I love it. Okay, I think we're gonna head back down the other direction and come back to this side of everything. Trying to do this. Hopefully that smoothly transitioned. Dan will take care of it on the back end, I'm sure. So this is the last part of my signed shelves. Gosh, there's so much here that I want to talk to you. This little blue dog that I just love, and it's gonna sit here right here. I can't not talk about The Amazing After the Parade by Lori Ostlund. I actually got to meet Lori and her wife Anne, and we did videos in their house, and they made us brunch, and it was fantastic. And they are lovely, amazing people, and I loved this book, and I'm so happy that it's on my shelf. Oh, I gotta try to get this back in here. Hold on 1 second. I could tell you, I told you guys in this first video when I was talking about Any Human Heart by John Boyd, how it reminded me of Michael Kindness, half of Books on the Nightstand. Well, this is the book that reminds me of the other half, and that's Anne Kingman, who is just a lovely human being. This is her favorite book The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. Mary Doria Russell actually has a new book coming out next month that I'm going to start while I am on my trip next week. But this is sort of the book that she is best known for. It's a sci-fi. She calls it Jesuits in Space. But I got to meet her when her book Doc came out, and her follow-up book. I think I've met her twice now, but I did get this book signed, and that was just lovely. And this book is a great science fiction classic. If you haven't read it and that's your genre, you should really read The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. Okay, what else can I tell you about on this shelf? I could tell you about the amazing Will Schwalbe, who is just a human piece of amazingness. He is a lovely, lovely person. Both of his books are absolutely amazing. If you like nonfiction that sort of reminisces about books and family and how important both of those things are together, highly recommend his books. I could tell you about so much on this shelf, but I will just, what will I do? I will tell you about meeting Jesmyn Ward and getting her to sign her books and how amazing it was. Jesmyn Ward is one of my favorite authors of all time, and just getting to see her speak about Sing Unburied Sing and get both of her books signed was worth absolutely the trip to San Francisco. And she had a young baby with her who, at the end of the signing, was not having it, but Jesmyn Ward toughed it out, and it was fantastic. I could tell you about meeting the amazing Sarah Winman when she came to, I can't remember, I think I saw her somewhere in Marin County. She was great. Tin Man is absolutely a fantastic book. I want to say this US cover is pretty fantastic. But when I met her, she knows pretty well Simon Savage. Again, he comes up, I tell you. And she was just lovely. And when he came to visit me, she actually told me hello through Simon. So she's an amazing person. Jacqueline Woodson, you guys know I'm obsessed. I have sort of a stalker-like. I think she's fantastic. I have all 3 of these books signed by her. I saw her in person for, I want to say Harbor Me, and I'm going to see her again. I just found out that she actually has a new book. I didn't just find this out. She has a new book coming out, an adult book, in a couple of months, and she's going to be in Santa Cruz doing an event. I will be buying tickets, and I will be going. I don't care what day it is. I will take the day off of work because I'm obsessed with her. And last but not least, the last book, only alphabetically, because of Lenny's last name, is Red Clocks by Lenny Zumas. Hands down my favorite read of last year. Lenny and I have become friends, and I have to say that I think that this book is brilliant. I've had coffee with her. I've had many interactions with her. I think she is just brilliant and wonderful. This book won the Oregon Book of the Year Award, I want to say a couple months ago now. If you haven't read Red Clocks, you really, really should. It is freaking brilliant. Okay, so what happens now? Now we take a moment to pause about real life. This is sort of the shrine to my amazing cat, Sophie. I got Sophie when she was 6 months old. She had been thrown out the window of a car on the freeway in San Diego, California. She had some broken legs, and she was sort of picked up and was at a pet store that I had gone into to buy pet food randomly. They were paying for her vet visits. They were going to get her repaired, but they had nowhere to go. And she went home with me. And I had Sophie until she was 19 years old. She was my longest relationship to date. And I loved her more than anything. And so this is sort of getting teary. This is sort of the shrine when she passed away. The company we used made this beautiful box for her and this paw print. And I'll always have it to remember her. Whew, big breath. I'm gonna scoot down and kind of go this way so that I can tell you guys, I did an entire video on Europa editions. I love Europa editions. So they have sort of their own space in my library. Now I have a few on my TBR shelves as well. I'm not going to talk to you so much about any of these specifically. You guys know how much I love the Mirror Visitor Quartet books, 2 books coming out. You know how much I loved Disoriental and absolutely think everyone should read it. Remember, it also has a gorgeous cover, and it was, I think it was longlisted? No, it was shortlisted for the National Book Award for Translated Literature last year. There are so many good books. I just absolutely love everything Europa puts out. So they are special and they are on my shelves right here. And sort of ending this part of the bookshelf tour is my collection of Tor novellas. I am not much of a science fiction reader or a fantasy reader, but every once in a while I just fall in love with one of these books. And the Tor novella series is absolutely one of my favorite things to go and look, see what they're putting out, and see why they're putting it out. And I collect it. And actually, there is one missing. I need to go find that. That doesn't make me happy. Next to that, you guys often comment about this card. It's funny, most people think this is our dogs. This is not our dogs. This is actually a card my husband gave me for Valentine's Day, but it is absolutely too cute not to keep, don't you think? And last, but certainly not least, is this piece of art. This is something that my husband painted and put together for me. Octopi are one of my favorite animals. I have one tattooed largely on one of my arms, and so he gave me this for a holiday. I can't remember which one, but I do remember how much I love it, and it has been on every bookshelf since I got it, so it really holds a special place in my heart, and it holds up this section of the bookshelves. So, and then this little thinking man. As always, guys, I hope you liked this section. This is really one of the most important parts of my book collection. So many great stories, so many people that have really touched my lives. As always, if you're a return subscriber, thank you. I really do appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, I hope that this video brings you back for more. And until next time, I wish you happy reading, and I'll see you soon.